Look at how we introduce ourselves. We rattle off a job title, point to a political affiliation, or list a few physical traits. We spend our lives building a massive stack of these external labels. They function like psychological armor. Each title acts as a heavy block, clicking into place around a fragile center. But reality forces these blocks to crack. When identity is tied to something temporary, the whole structure collapses. Basing a sense of self entirely on things that inevitably change makes stability impossible. It leaves us in a state of constant, quiet risk, where any external shift feels like a threat to our very existence. Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi observed this vulnerability and traced human suffering back to a single source, the mistaken belief that we are these temporary labels. This method bypasses the need for new philosophies or complex dogmas. It focuses instead on a forensic deconstruction of the self you currently think you are. The specific tool for this deconstruction is Atma Vichara, or self-inquiry. It operates on a single three-word question: who am I? Asking this question redirects your attention. It stops the effort to fix a changing external world and forces an investigation into the one actually observing it. The inquiry starts with the most tangible piece of evidence: the physical body. Biologically, your cells constantly regenerate. The physical form you had as an infant is entirely gone, replaced over decades. Yet your internal sense of I has remained continuous and unchanged throughout that entire physical lifespan. If the physical form replaces itself completely, but the I persists without interruption, the I cannot be the body. The physical vessel is just a changing object. The investigation then moves to the mind, challenging the assumption that we are our thoughts, our memories, and that constant internal monologue. This timeline illustrates a simple observation. You watch your own thoughts as temporary events. There are erratic spikes of thoughts and a steady baseline of the observer. Maharshi applied a strict logical rule. The observer cannot be the observed. You are separate from them. Both the physical vessel and the internal monologue are temporary objects you experience. They are distinct from the entity actually doing the experiencing. This leads to the I thought, the foundational root of the ego that claims ownership over everything the body and mind do. This I thought acts as a psychological parasite. Because it has no substance of its own, it must constantly attach itself to external experiences to create the illusion of a solid self. Traditional scholars like Acharya detail the actual practice of Atma Vichara. It requires focusing all of your attention solely on finding the source of this I thought within the mind. Scrutiny changes the mechanics of the mind. The I thought requires an external object to define itself: a job, a role, or a feeling. When you force it to look only at its own source, it finds no anchor to latch onto. Without that external attachment, the illusion simply dissolves. The ego vanishes the moment you look directly for its source, revealing itself as a structural illusion rather than a physical reality. The question, who am I, intentionally leaves the intellect behind. It provides no verbal answer. Its purpose is for the questioner, the ego itself, to dissolve completely into silence. This shift changes the texture of daily life. Anxieties lose their grip because the fabricated self they usually latch onto is no longer there to receive them. This state of pure awareness reveals the discovery of the unshakable self that exists beneath all the noise. Achieving this clarity is a lifelong practice of continuous subtraction. It requires a sustained commitment to peeling back the layers we have spent years accumulating. Navigating the complexities of this non-dualistic path without getting lost in intellectual traps requires authentic, traditional guidance. If you want to study these traditional teachings deeply, visit voiceofrishis.org. You can download and listen to extensive talks by Acharya to continue learning the exact mechanics of self-inquiry. The most significant journey we take happens without moving an inch. It is the work of looking inward and refusing to stop asking the right question.